Welcome to week 17 of my self-important Magic the Gathering show. This is Esper week. That is the color combination of white, blue, and black. We have a little update from last week on the Bernard deck. I took out Angelic Ascension, Solemn Simulacrum, Karn Legacy Reforged, and Academy Manufactor, and added in Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, mostly for the first half. The second half, people are going to get mad at, but that's fine. It's to go with the Panharmonicon and the Roaming Throne and the Virtue of whatever. So that when my, excuse me, when my splicers come into play, I get extra golems. And then Ellen Harbreeze, Busybody, Bernie Brack, Zoologist, and Idol of Oblivion to actually have, for more pieces of card draw. A lot of it's tied to these 9 splicers. I still don't want to put that other splicer, the one that has partner, in here, because if I recall correctly, if tokens would go to the graveyard, they are exiled instead, so they don't actually hit the graveyard. So since that thing would only, while it makes a golem, it would only trigger that effect on these 3. I mean, I could take out the Stone Idol, but I like having these 5 big golems. So yeah, so it's funny how we're definitely not leaning into this part. This is just kind of bonus. Or no, it's more of a consolation prize. Since we'd rather just have our additional bakers. I don't know why the Academy Manufacturer got put in the additional bakers category, since it never appeared over there, but that's neither here nor there. Oh, I think it's because this was a renamed category. But yeah, so this is definitely not the strongest deck, but I don't know, it should be fun. Anyway, on to this week's actual thing. And you notice this says 17 and this says 16. That's because I put, for future episodes, if I ever go back to the 32 deck challenge, Esper is actually the 16th deck by Wizards of the Coast color order, and that's what I did for my future episodes. I put them in the Wizards of the Coast color order, and I have that tab open just in case this doesn't take 2 hours, which I don't think it will, because this is a deck that's going to put itself together. So we have the Celestial Toymaker, a white, a blue, and a black for a 2/4 rogue Artificer. We're starting off Artificers again, a second week in a row. Whenever the Celestial Toymaker attacks, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Exile any number of them face down, in a face down pile, and the rest in a face up pile. Defending player chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses 2 life for each spell or ability that caused one or more players to guess or group cards or permanents into a pile this turn. I don't like milling generally, and this stinks of milling, because you're going to lose half. Lose up, we'll probably lose half of the cards, and they're just going to be gone forever with him because they're exiled. But this is more for fun than for anything else. So let's get our land situation going first. T land. T plains, or T is land, or T swamp. And just like last week, we're going to have 9 basics. Enters tapped, enters tapped, and we're going to have all of these. And we don't need the snow ones because we're not searching for lands. Over here, over there. Boy, it's even more tempting to put Mistveiled Plains in this one. Not because of our commander, no, but because of other things that are going to go in this deck. Although if we do Mystic Plains, I'm probably going to do Mystic Sanctuary. We'll have to think about that. Here, Rafine's Tower, and it's white then blue. That'll be important in a bit. Snowfield, Sunken, Undercity Sewers, the Swamp, Sunlit Marsh, Watery Grave. Oh, and then I guess, yeah, Witch's Cottage, Mistveiled Plains. So we could do 8. Or no, 6. So 2, 4, 6. And then and just to remind myself, it is white then blue for when I search for the other 3 color lands. The Verge. That's 1 Verge. That's 1 Reveal. That's 1 Control. That's 2 Verges. That's all 3 Verges. That's 2 Control. That's all 3 Control. We'll do Nimbus Maze this time. That's the 2nd reveal and the 3rd reveal, and then 2 Tainteds. Scroll to top. White, blue. Oh, Dormar's Cavern, Arcane Sanctum. Oh, that puts us at 40 lands. I don't know if we need that many lands. The Tainted ones specifically want a swamp. And then the Nimbus Maze. Boom. There, 37. Now we want our removal suite. Although I guess normally I would do ramp first, but I'm already here. No. Permanent order CMC. I mean, we're probably going to see a lot of the same cards. I don't think we need the bounce lands again. D-Spark. I mean, it's only 4 or greater, but it is a great, it's a great rate. And it's exile. If we're exiling our own stuff, we're going to be exiling everyone else's stuff. Sorry, there's stuff annoying my fingers on my mouse pad. Vanishing Verse is only monocolored. English Unmaking. I know some people don't like it, but it's exiles a non-land permanent. Generous Gift. Stroke of Midnight, and there. Sometimes you just gotta wait for whatever Architect's problem is, and it's permanent, and it ain't me. Yep, we just gotta sit here through this problem. I don't edit this stuff out. If Architect's giving me sass, you get to see it. There we go. Close that. Stroke of Midnight, thank you very much. And then there's one more. Oh no, there's 2 more. We'll do Void Rend, even though it's colors, it's very pip specific. But there is one more. Utter End. Basically paying 1 more mana to not lose 3 life. Again, I know there are people who don't like that, but I did not mean to press that because we are not going further down. So instead of permanent, we'll do our exile targets, which we probably know which ones those are going to be. But it doesn't hurt to look. So, you know, Path, Swords, Angelic. There's also Dire Tactics, but our Dire Tactics is definitely more for if our commander is a human, or if we know we're going to have a lot of humans. So we're not going to put that in. Parting Gust and Reality Shift. Go back to top. That's 11 out of 12 pieces of removal, or targeted disruption as they call it. I like how he doesn't have a race creature type, because he's not anything. The Celestial Toymaker is just like an embodiment of the playing of games or something. It's really weird. One more piece of removal. I can't think of anything that I'd put in that wouldn't make me want to put other stuff in. Because, like, there's the two... you know what? I think I'm going to... no. Because I could give... Actually, you know what? I know exactly what it is. And I'll just have to deal with it. We're going with dire tactics. Exile target creature. If you don't control a human, you lose life equal to its toughness. So that's that. So now we go settle the Aetherize, Aether Spouts, and unlike last week, I remember what the other pieces of so-called mass disruption are that I did not put in any of those decks, but I'm going to put in this one because I don't want people attacking me. It is Propa for propaganda, and Ghostly Prison because it does the same thing. And then we are going to put Aether Spouts, Aetherize, and Settle the Wreckage here. And we're going to rename... Actually, you know what? That actually counts as protection. So, but it's also... We're going to edit this to Mass Disruption. Because making them pay 2 to 4 every time they want to, for every creature they want to attack me with, that sounds like disruption to me. Let's see. Trouble in Pairs. Mangar the Diplomat. I'm just letting you know that this is going to be a bracket 3 deck, at least, because I think 2 of the cards that are going to go in here are game changers. Let's get our rent before we forget. We could use one more piece of mass disruption just to make it 6, but we'll come back to that, or we won't. Good old Soul Ring. Arcane Signet. The other signets. Azorius, Dimir, Orzhov. The Talismans. Dominance, Hierarchy, and Progress. That puts us at 8 of 10 pieces of ramp. We are going to want the Thought Vessel. Just on the off chance that we have a high number of cards in hand. Because technically we're going to be playing cards that are card positive. And then for the 10th piece, we'll just do... We're playing 3 colors, so Felwar Stone is a little bit better. Because now there's a decent chance one of our opponents is playing one of our colors. So there, now we have... we just need 10 more pieces of card advantage. 1 more piece of mass disruption, honestly. I just can't think of one. Okay, so, but now we're going into the meat. Just double check something. that cause one or more players to guess or group cards or permanents into a pile. So we have Golem Scheming Guide. Whenever Golem Scheming Guide attacks, look at the top 2 cards of the library, put them back in any order. Then choose land or non-land. An opponent guesses whether the top card is land or whether or not you're lying, I guess. Reveal the card. If they guessed right, Golem is not in combat. If they did not guess right, you draw that card and Golem can't be blocked. We like that. Then Liar's Pendulum. It costs 1 by itself. 2 and tap. Name a card. Target opponent guesses whether a card with that name is in your hand. You may reveal your hand. If you do and your opponent guessed wrong, draw a card. Honestly, that's just a 2 mana a turn just to get 2 damage to all of our opponents. Master of Predicaments. When Master of Predicaments deals combat damage to a player, choose a card in your hand. Okay. The player you have dealt damage to guesses whether or not its converted mana cost is greater than 4. Okay. If they guessed wrong, you can cast that card. You can play that card without paying its mana cost. Sure, that sounds like fun. I mean, this 4/4/4/5 with flying has to hit, but that's still fun. Spire Phantasm. Reveal Spire okay, that's just draft. When Spire in the battlefield, if you guess correctly. Okay, that guess relies on draft, and that's silly. The Toymaker's Trap has to go in the deck because we're playing the Toymaker, even if this is not necessarily a good card. At the beginning of your upkeep, secretly choose a number between 1 and 5 that hasn't been chosen. If you do, an opponent guesses which number you chose, then reveal the number you chose. If they guessed wrong, they lose life equal to the number they guessed, and you draw a card. If they guess right, you sacrifice this. So this is 3 mana to any number of times make someone guess. And then this smug-faced guy, the 7th Doctor. 3 white to blue for a... wow, 3/6. This guy had a donk. Whenever the 7th Doctor attacks, choose a card in your hand. Defending player guesses whether that card's mana value is greater than the number of artifacts you control. If they guessed wrong, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you don't cast a spell this way, you investigate, so you can, start building up artifacts. And again, the important thing is that you made them guess, not that they guessed right or wrong. So we are going to... oh wow, they all ended up somewhere. Huh. We're gonna call this, whoops, guessing game. Guessing game. Close. And then you also go into guessing game, guessing game, guessing game, guessing game. Just those, yeah, just those 5 cards, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Now we go pile. And this is the other fun half of the deck, where we just basically mill ourselves out. But we don't play Labman or Thassa's Oracle because we're mildly honest. When Atris, Oracle of Truths, enters the battlefield, target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. 1 into your hand, 1 into your graveyard. Someone had to pile stuff, so that's that. Become anonymous. Exile target non-token creature you own and the top 2 cards of your library in a face-down pile. Shuffle that pile, then cloak those cards. They enter the battlefield tapped. Okay. I don't... Group cards into a pile. I think that counts. That might not stay in the deck, but that's interesting. Boneyard Parlay. Exile up to 5 target creature cards from graveyards. An opponent separates those cards into piles. Stuff's going into piles. Remove the top 5 cards of your library from the game. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. You may play any number of cards from one of those piles without paying their mana cost. Sure, brilliant ultimatum. There's 28 cards. Well, all 28 cards go in the deck. This spell can't be countered. When this creature enters, looks at the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile in their hand, the other in their graveyard. Sure, why not? It costs 6. Death or Glory. Separate all creature cards in your graveyard into face-up piles. Remove a pile of an opponent's choice from the game and return the other to play. That sounds like fun. I don't know how good that'll be when we're exiling stuff, but this is where we are. Do or Die. Separate all creatures target player controls into 2 face-up piles. That's putting stuff into a pile. Epiphany of the Drown Yard. Reveal the top X+1 cards of your library and separate them into piles. 1 into your hand, 1 into your graveyard. Sure, why not? Fact or Fiction. That's a classic doing that. Hand or graveyard. Fight or Flight. At the beginning of each opponent's combat phase, separate all creatures that player controls into 2 face-up piles. That's grouping things into piles. Jace might make it into a deck even though I don't like him. Fortune's Favor. Target opponent looks at the top 4 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down and a face-up pile. Ghastly Conscription. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard face-down pile. Shuffle that pile, then manifest those cards. Yeah, that puts them in a pile. Right? Yeah. Doesn't say how many piles. Hostile Negotiations. Exile the top 3 cards of your library in a face-down pile. Then exile the top 3 cards of your library in another face-down pile. Look at the cards in each pile, then turn a pile of your choice face up. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile in your hand and the other in your graveyard. You lose 3 life. Sure, we're going to lose 3 life on top of all that shenanigan. Intrude on the Mind. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile in your hand and the other in your graveyard. Create a 0/0 colorless artifact creature token with flying. Then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each card put in your graveyard this way. Sure, why not? Jace. Big fat jerky face. Until your next turn, whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, it gets -1/-0 until end of turn, or the -2, I guess that's the part we care about. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library, and opponent separates those into 2 piles, 1 into your hand, the other at the bottom of your library in any order. Sure. We're not, one's not making it in. We're not doing Liliana because it makes people discard. And we'd have to make people discard to get to the pile making. So we're not Lilioning out of principle. Although, you know what? Out of principle, Jace ain't going in the deck either. I just don't like Jace. Oh, Mangara has a tome. I forgot. Jeskai Infiltrator can't be blocked as long as you control no other creatures. When Jeskai Infiltrator deals combat damage to a player, exile it in the top card of your library face down. Then you kind of shuffle it with that other card, and then you manifest them. You're randomizing them, basically. And then they can be turned up for their mana cost, as long as they're creatures. Make an example. Each opponent separates the creatures they control into 2 piles. For each opponent, you choose one of those piles, and they sacrifice the chosen pile. Pile, 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 the word pile. Parallel thoughts? Okay. Actually, I should probably read Mangara's Thumb. Well, comes into play, search your library for any 5 cards, shuffle those cards, and put them face down. I guess the Oracle calls this a pile. Yep, put them into a face. I'm not doing that because it's not really a game. Like, even with this and that other one, it's a game of which is this thing and which is another thing. Parallel Thoughts. When Parallel Thoughts comes into play, search your library for 7 cards, remove from the game, and face down pile, shuffle that pile, then shuffle your library. When you go draw a card, you may instead... Okay, so this is basically this, just better. Phyrexian Portal. Target opponent looks at the top 10 cards of your library and separates them into 2 face-down piles. Oh, you don't get to see either. Choose one of those piles and remove it from the game. Search the remaining pile and put one of those cards into your hand. Shuffle the remaining cards into your library. Ignore this effect if you have fewer than 10 cards in your library. That's a wild, wild, wild game. And the thing is that it's repeatable. For 3 mana. And then the Oracle is if your library... I mean, it costs 6 the first time. Or 3 and then wait for 3. But it's still, you know... Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, we're doing that just because that's wild. That is wild as heck. Only because it's a good way to close out the game. If you're just like, oh, if I could only make them choose so many more times. Sorin's Ransom. Choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and put them into a face and a face down, face up. 1 hand, 1 graveyard. And the ring tempts you. Okay. Sphinx of Clear Skies. When it deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top X cards of your library, or X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. So 3 at most. And probably by the time we have 5, we hope we have all 3 land types. An opponent separates those into 2 piles, 1 in your hand, 1 in your graveyard. Sure, why not? But you have to have domain. Oh no, domain is the, yeah, it's the however many different land types you have. When Sphinx of Thune enters the battlefield, reveal the top 5. Opponents put those into 2 piles. Ding. Triumph of Saint Catherine. Oh, this is a 40k card. I might as well, I'm using a Doctor Who card, so I might as well grab a $9 40k card. She has lifelink. When Triumph of Saint Catherine dies, exile it and the top 6 cards of your library into a face-down pile. Oh, well, you're still putting it into a pile, but if you do, shuffle and put it back on top of your library. Okay, so that's interesting. It still puts cards in a pile. Truth or Tale. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that card into the chosen pile into your hand. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put a card from the chosen pile into your hand, and all other cards at the bottom of your library. Sure, you're still piling stuff. Unesh Cryo Sphinx Silvering. Because if it was Cryo, I think it would be spelled with a Y. Sphinx spells cost 2 less to cast. That doesn't matter much. Or another Sphinx enters the battlefield. Top 4, 2 piles, hand, graveyard. There we go. And we should be... No, we're still 2. What was the... I could have swore there was 2 pile game changers. Hold on, I'm gonna have to... Did the ones I'm thinking of not make piles? Yep, that doesn't say piles. And then there's the other one that was basically the same. Yeah, what do you know? We're still technically in bracket 2. And we're at 95 cards. If we go to category, we go to type. Oh, we have 11 creatures. What do you know? That's more creatures than I thought we'd have. This is obviously a silly bad deck, but much like Xancha, it's more about having fun, which probably puts the... Despite the cards in the deck, it's probably a bracket 1. The win condition is our commander and hoping for the best. So we only have 5 of our... we are going to call this, edit category, piles of cards. Save category. And then select all. And then even though I'm going to have to move some of the cards in there, we're going to do that. And then thankfully these two are right next to each other. There we go. Do or Die is a piles of cards card. Although I guess it's technically also mass removal now that I think about it. Make an example. Just now kind of going over this. None of that made it into ramp. I think I kind of want more ramp just because of how expensive some of this nonsense is. Especially if we want to do some of these things more than once. So we have 23 piles of cards plus 5 guessing games. Triple checking and also making sure there aren't any things down there. This is us just basically throwing our deck away, just as much as fast as humanly possible. But we're not gonna run the if you have no cards, you win the game. No. We win with doing basically casting all 20 of these spells. Of these 28 spells, casting 20 of them, give or take how much damage our opponents have done to each other. We have no damage multipliers because there's no red. We're going to want Swiftfoot Boots. We're going to want Lightning Greaves. We're going to want Mithril Coat. We're going to want Darksteel Plate, even though it's objectively worse. Mithril Coat. And then one more. We're going to go over here, and then we're going to pretend EDH Rec thinks like I do. Oh, Roaming Throne is a funny one. Actually, that is kind of a good idea. Let's take out the Darksteel Plate because it is objectively worse, just because you actually have to pay the equip cost. So, Roaming Throne, selecting our commander. Strionic Resonator, because it copies the triggered ability of our commander. So that way if one of these, at least one of these two is out, well, we get both of these twice, so that's good. Oh, Brotherhood Regalia, yeah. Because we also want our since one of his things is to attack. That's actually good. Helm of the Host is really expensive but funny. And I know we are over 100, so we're probably going to do enchantment. Oh, Reconnaissance, that's funny. Wound Reflection. Yeah, because you order your triggers. Reconnaissance is funny because it means they don't actually. You don't have to worry about going through with the attack. Rune Reflection, you just order your. Sorry, just scratching an itch. You just have to order your triggers to make sure that they lose the life from this before Wound Reflection triggers. So wow, we're 4 over. I'm actually going to take out this and this. Put this down here in protection. We are still 2 over. Honestly, with Brotherhood, we're 2 over still? Yeah. With adding Brotherhood Regalia and Whisper Silk Cloak, we're going to remove Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots. Because I don't mind waiting a turn as long as my creature, is difficult to get rid of. I'm just thinking, were there any creatures? Spark Double, yeah, they really want. Oh yeah. Delaney Straightwise Lookout. If the ability triggers, it triggers an additional time. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks gets Skulk. Those are good. This is like Strionic Resonator, but worse. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. I like that. So that put us over again by 3. Now the thing is that do I really want... I think I don't... We're 3 over. I want to keep my piles of cards. What's funny is that I kind of want to get rid of Ghostly Prison and Propaganda again. Or do the crazy thing of dump some ramp. I do like this skulk effect. Since it has a 4, you know what, let's get rid of Recon. And just follow through with our attacks. Let's get rid of Strionic Resonator because it costs mana that we're probably not going to have. Because if we have mana, we'd rather just cast these spells. It's funny that they call these drain even though they don't drain. This is burn. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, we're going to play a little bit more fairly. So now we're down to 99. And then let's go to our history to see if there was anything that we want to put back. And the funny thing is that technically we have 20 pieces of card draw, even if it's 20 bad pieces of card draw. Honestly, we could put Reconnaissance back in. Yeah. Add back to deck. Now we're at 100. Would you like to play a game? We'll go from private to unlisted. Even though I am recording this one early, but that's fine. We are here to put cards into piles and make our opponents guess stuff. Opponents. Winning is secondary to the game itself. kind of off flavor to the Toymakers attitude, but whatever. There we go. Ding. So yeah, no, I'm a fan of this. Extras. Optimize our printings. Oh, we are optimizing 23 cards. Look at that. Unselect everything. So we're going to go into our future Esper decks, and because we still got like an hour to kill. Some of these are probably already partially built, so let's Esper lands? Question mark. Okay. Oh no, this only has 3 cards in it, so good. So Dakkon Blackblade is a card way back from Legends. This is the Chronicles reprinting of it. He is 2 white, blue, blue, black for an indeterminate power and toughness, because his power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Blackblade Reforged, +1/+1 for each land you control. And then Dakkon the Planeswalker. He enters the battlefield with a number of loyal counters equal to the number of lands you control. I feel like he should have been a different set of colors, but this is the colors that they went with. I think it's because of his attitude. Even though in his memories it's plains, mountains, and islands. Plains, mountains, island. That's Jesper, which still it doesn't have any green in it, so so anyway, +1 to surveil 2 on our planeswalk over here, -3 to exile target creature, and then -6, which you're only ever getting if you're playing him late in the game. You can put an artifact from your hand or graveyard into the battlefield. Okay. Let's start by going back over here. I always forget this much. Copy card names. That is not where I meant to be. Go here, put in the lands. Then we will go to our ramp section. Copy. Oh yeah. Then mass disruption. Select. Whoops, nope, I didn't need to do that. Copy card names. Control V. And then regular removal over here. Copy. Control V. Me doing this, for me, really exemplifies that Commander isn't 100 cards of your choice. It's not even 60 cards of your choice, give or take how many lands you put in. It's your Commander plus all of these. So I'm actually down to 46 cards of my actual choice. Although I technically don't need Ghostly Prison and Propaganda, I just choose. $34, hold on, 35. 36 and 37. There we go. So actually I'm down to 33. I said 40 before, but that's me not being able to count. T equipment O be blocked. Bilbo's ring is a little expensive to equip, but we want the Brotherhood Regalia. We'll take the Psychic Paper, the Prowler's Helm because people don't really play walls, and the Whisper Cloak. You all go into evasion. And then we want the Swiftfoot boots. We want the greaves. Even though Shroud isn't exactly helpful, it's at least a stopgap until we can get more, more stuff on them. And then Mithril Cloak or Mithril Coat. Now, how are we going to get more lands into play in these colors? First, our opponent needs to have more lands than us because a lot of those cards have that little bit of. So we're going to go to EDH Rec. We want Solemn because we want every piece of ramp that we can get. That search, though we only have 6 basics in this deck, that's kind of the problem. This can grab both of our basic planes from our deck. And then, see, this we need to have land cards in our hand. So maybe not that. Expedition Map grabs any land. That's better than nothing. Actually, we're probably going to want this because we're going to play Catch-Up Ramp. Reality Chip. Oh, the Shadow Spear to give us Trample and Lifelink. That's pretty good. That's funny as heck. Oh, the Realm Breaker, the Invasion Tree to steal lands from our opponents. We're not going to do that, but that's funny. Oh, Explorer's Scope. Whenever a equipped creature attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's land, you can put it into the battlefield tapped. That definitely is something we want. I don't know how many of our lands we're going to be sacrificing just yet, but that's definitely something we'll want to come back for. Let's go in here. Let's see. Creatures. Sun Titan, Baleful Strix. You know, it does draw a card when it comes in. When Knight of the White Orchid enters the battlefield and controls more land than you may search your library for a Plains card. Doesn't have to be basic, so that's good. That searches for basics. Plains card doesn't have to be basic. Plains card doesn't have to be basic. Of course, this both of these require one of our opponents to basically be playing green or us going. Well, this requires them to be playing green. This requires them to be playing green or us going last. But that's a plains card. That's basics. We don't like stealing our opponent's stuff, and this is kind of a master land denial card, sort of, over time. Search your library for a land card. You know what? Yes. Even though we opponent needs to have more lands than us, but yeah, we're doing catch-up ramp, basically. Whenever the land enters battlefield, oh, well, that's neat, but this is also 7. Landfall. If that has more creatures, you get a creature. That searches for basic planes. We only have 2 of those. We're not. Now we go to enchantments. We're not doing study, tithe, arena. Yes, that's going to be our card draw. That searches for basics. Dang. Okay, so where does that put us? That puts us at 84. Cards that could have made it into other decks but did not. Black market connections. And trouble in pairs. Those are going to actually get in here. Basilisk collar, and then we take it out of removal. We're going to rename that as soon as we get the Basilisk collar over there. We're going to tell it weapons, even though like we have weapons in other groups. We're up to 88. We're going to remove this Mystic Sanctuary and the Mistveil Plains and the Witch's thing, because we are going to increase this to 3 each. Once again, I'm thinking about Lotus Field. I mean, this is a lands deck, so maybe we want more lands. Lotus Field. That is the one that we have to sacrifice 2 lands. Which means I do want... I do want Crucible of Worlds. And then T land O sacrifice. I'm just kind of just looking for stuff, even though I realized this wasn't actually what I was going to look for. Yeah, I wanted these three things. It's Demir, Azorius, Urza is going to be way down in O. There we go. That is 41 lands. That is more lands than I need. What land? I don't want to remove any. I'll get rid of the verges. 1, 2, 3. Search your library. Land card. Oh. -O. Basic, because we know the Archaeomancer's map. Disciple of Deceit. Oh. We also don't want the word non-land. We also don't want land. Sacrifice Gemma Prone for an island card, a swamp card, and a mountain card. Well, that's still a little much. Mana Severance is hilarious. Hilariously not helpful in this entire deck. If an opponent controls more lands than you, for a desert card. We're not doing that. Search your library for a land card, exile, and shuffle your library. Quick creature gets +1 for each land with the same name. That is not helpful. Any number of land cards, exile them, shuffle your library, become equal to the. No. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's as good as that we're going to get. Is there anything that we can sacrifice a land to? that's not absolute garbage. Ugh. All these old hard to read cards. Zeron Orb. So technically, okay, so we're only really sacrificing lands with Lotus Field, so we don't need Crucible. It's funny what they call ramp. Oh. We're only, oh, well now we're 11 cards down because I decided I didn't need that. Go in here. Press this button because it makes it go faster. Let's go back to artifacts. Well, we do have 9 basics now, and we'll do the Wayfarer's Bauble as well. But we don't need Sword of the Animist. I don't know about Walking Atlas. I guess we'll do that. Farty McButterpants. Close the deck. Open the deck back up. An unexpected error. Architect doesn't like you, never has, and never will. Chaosmancer's map. Huh, Gearport Orrery is interesting. Okay. Oh, actually, how many creatures do I have in this deck? Categories, type. 8 creatures. Let's try to make that 16 creatures. Because we want more than just Dakkon Blackblade in this deck. Creatures, Sun Titan, yeah, I get it. That's only searches for basics. Walking Atlas isn't exactly a good creature. We can throw an Esper Sentinel. It's something that vaguely resembles card draw at least. Let's grab the Stoneforge Mystic. I'll do the Walking Atlas just Just in case. If we get it early, at least we get early ramp. Enchantments? No, 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 because it searches for basics. Oh, as long as it's white, it has lifelink. As long as it's blue, it's unblockable. Hello. Oh, it's an aura, but still. But that does remind me of what we want these other 4 cards to be. Can't be blocked. Can't be blocked. Phasing. Well, a lot of these objectively worse versions of the first 2 things I put in the deck. There we go. So we are at 98. Steel Shaper's Gift, that's the other... Yeah, that's the cheap tutor. What I'm hoping is that we have enough card draw that the Walking Atlas and the Archaeomancer's map, and I think the Deep Gnome or the White Orchid, no, that's the Search. Whatever other ones allow us to put extra ones into play. There was another one over there. I don't remember it. What do we are for creature? We're at 11 creatures besides our commander. That's funny. We only have 1 more card to put into the deck. Huh. You know, through all of this, where did good old Dakkon Dakkon the Planeswalker end up? There he is. He's in removal because of his -3. Go back over here. No. Nothing that searches for basics. The Gear Repair Orrery is tempting because I know I'm going to have no cards in hand more often than anyone else. But just the idea of giving other people good stuff when my deck is so bad. I can't really think of anything else, so we're just going to put in this, no, that's like a big equip cost. You can like play it for free if it's in your opening hand, but no. Let's look at the creatures again. Burner Tart, no. Sun Titan, no. Although I get it, permanent cards include lands. Oh, there we go. I missed this guy. If an opponent controls more lands than you can, for a plains card, it doesn't have to be basic. Yeesh. So that's the deck. Esper lands, that's keeping the name because not exactly a land set of colors, but we try our best. That is, Try is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that. Oh wait, almost forgot. Optimize our printings. Optimize 28 cards. Unselect. And we'll leave that up because we'll probably want our removal and lands and ramp. Oh no, we're not going to do it from that one. We're going to do that from Would You Like to Play a Game? Because its land section is one less and also has a more traditional set of lands, and then we'll do, yep, and yep. We'll be doing those. Okay, so we can do another one, but we can also move that deck to, we're just going to put that into home. There. So now we have the Council of Urzas. I think this one's mostly built, but let's take a look at it. I think this one I did with no basics. Oh, this one's fully built. So let's just go through this. Let's do this as a grid. Yeah, so let's just let's look at the kind of deck I built on my own devices. So we have Urza, Chief Artificer. It's a 3 white, blue, black for a 4/5 human Artificer with affinity for artifact creatures, which means that 3 can quickly become a 0 for each artifact creature we have in play. Artifact creatures we control have menace. At the beginning of our end step, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with it. Gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Then we have 16 artifact creatures. That's our good old friend Esper Sentinel. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, we draw a card unless they play X, where X is his power. which is usually 1. Baleful Strix, black blue 1/1 flying death touch. When it enters, you draw a card. Gold Mirror adds white. Leaden Mirror adds black. When Mirror Retriever dies, return another artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. That'll be important later. Palladium Mirror adds 2 colorless, also a little bit more expensive, a little bigger. Junk Diver, it's basically Mirror Retriever, but it costs 1 more because it has flying. Foundry Expector, artifacts spells cost 1 less to cast. Ally Mirror adds mana of any color. Silver Mirror adds blue. Shimmer Mirror, artifact spells as though they had flash. I have Solemn in this deck, and yet I just said I don't have any basics. I am going to change that. I am going to copy over copy card names. Actually, no. Copy card names with quantity. I'll be doing that in a second. Workshop Assistant. This is again Junk Diver and Mirror Retriever. You're probably going to see where that's going later. Joyver's Familiar. Historic spells cost 1 less to tax, which includes artifacts, legends, and sagas. Solemn. Search for a basic, and then if it dies, you can draw a card. Cyberdrive Awakener. I don't think this has been in the deck. It costs a lot. 5 and a blue for a 4/4 with flying. Other artifact creatures you control have flying, so that's good. When Cyberdrive Awakener enters the battlefield until end of turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 creature artifact. Cybermen Squadron. Non-legendary artifacts you control have Myriad, which means when you attack with them, you create tokens that are attacking each opponent that you didn't already attack. And then we have the 9 pieces of disruption right here, which is not good. We just have ones for the permanents, and then my 3 go to anti-attacker cards for these color series, and then the lands. Not a single basic in here. So what we are going to do is that we are going to, there it is, there, select all, and delete all. And then we're going to keep looking at the deck, and then we'll come back and fix that later. Now we have our other Artificers. Drafna, the founder of Laugh Now. Return an artifact you control to your hand, or copy an artifact spell. Copy becomes a token. Ethereum Sculptor, artifacts cost 1 less to cast. Forensic Gadgeteer, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you investigate, so you get additional artifacts. That's important. Oh yeah, this guy went into a deck last week, when the Detectives deck. And then the activated abilities of artifacts cost 1 less to activate. That's probably only important to our clue tokens. Return target artifact or enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. This destroy. So she is a disenchant, plus also you and an opponent draw a card. It's funny because she's of the 3rd path, which was a group of artificers that opposed both Urza and Mishra. So you know, I put her in this deck anyway. Arkham Dagson, who is important for reasons I don't remember. Oh, it's a post Brothers War, an Ice Age era Artificer. Target artifact creature's controller sacrifices it. Okay. That player may search their library for a non-creature artifact card, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. Oh boy. That's probably going to be important. Voyager Quick Welder, artifacts 1 less to cast. Cast an artifact spell, get a Thopter, so bonus artifacts. And then you can also sacrifice artifacts to draw a card. Then other stuff. Sensei's Divining Top to manipulate the top of our deck. Ghostly Prison, of course. Propaganda, of course. Oh, Heuristic Gust Study, Game Changer. That is because our deck was already going to be a bracket 3 because Urza is in this deck. Why is Urza in this deck? Because this is the Council of Urzas. Urza's a jerk, just like another person who has a council of a bunch of himself in it. Mirrodin Besieged, you can either choose Mirrodin for whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get a mirror. Or at the beginning of your end step, you draw a card and discard a card. Then, if there are 15 or more artifact cards in your graveyard, target opponent loses the game. Rhystic Study, whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw unless they pay 1. Your card number 1, your card number 2 is that whenever an opponent draws a card, if they don't pay 2, you get a treasure. Thopter Spy Network, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, you get another artifact. And then whether one or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Vedalken Archmage, draw a card for casting artifact spells. Mechanized Production, this is a win the game card, which is fine in our bracket 3 deck. Noted Procession, get additional tokens. Which is funny because I don't think I put all of the other ones in here. Just this one. Like I don't think I have Mondrak or Ojurtaj. And this is definitely, and I definitely put this one together before the new Elspeth came out. Okay, so this is other Urzas and stuff. This is Urza's Saga, a temporary land, Urza's Battlethopter, Urza's Incubator. I think I pick Artificer because that's what I probably have the most of. He's incubating his other version of himself. Urza's Silex. This is a mass land denial, I guess. Oh, and then we can search our deck for a Planeswalker card, which I don't even think we have a Planeswalker in here other than the Meld one. And that's counting against us for tutors. That's funny. Urza Lord Protector, that's the one that turns into a Planeswalker if we have the Might Stone Weakstone card. Urza's Ruinous Blast, that's when he destroyed all the stuff. Exile all non-land permanents that aren't legendary. Jeez. Urza Prince of Krug. Artifact creatures get +2/+2. And then you can make copies. Urza Lord Artificer. He has a CDH card all by himself. When he enters, you get one of those constructs from the other Urza. And then you can tap untapped artifacts you control to get blue. Then you can also shuffle your library, then exile the top card. To end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. Bleh. Urza's Command. Creatures you don't control get slightly weaker. You can get a Power Stone, or you can get another one of them constructs, or you can scry and draw. Urza Power Stone Prodigy. Draw a card, discard a card. Whenever you discard one or more artifacts, you get a Power Stone. And then a bunch of stones. We got our Soul Ring, we got our Arc Sig, we got all of these signets, then we got the talismans, and then we got the Might Stone Weakstone, of course, because why wouldn't we have it in here? Yeah, we don't have... The Urza Silex is counting against us, even though we don't have any targets for it. So let's import our different mana base. The one that only... Though we are... Well, first we're going to change this back to stacks. And then we are going to go to 3 of each basic and get rid of these cards. And now we're back at 100, and I got to show off this deck. This is not the most powerful Urza deck you've ever seen, not by a long shot, but this is the Urza deck I wanted to make. And we actually got to have game changers in the deck, 3 of them to be exact, just so it's in bracket 3. We don't want people to get the wrong idea. Yeah, we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, we have 13 Artificers, but I don't think we have any other. Yeah, no other type. And the only reason why these cards are in here is because they have Urza in the name. And yet we don't have Urza's other lands. I don't remember if I... Let's go into the deck history really quick. No, oh look at that. Teferi's protection got removed 44 days ago. Because I decided Teferi wouldn't protect Urza. Yeah, no, that's that's that deck. So we can close that, do this, move this all the way there. Time. Oh, we can show off one more. We'll go Esper enchantments, because Half Dane I might do in a series of Lost Legends, and this one also might just be built. It is not, I just have my lands, of which I'm going to delete, import, V, and I'm just going to do this here. Since I actually remember. So we have Zur Eternal Schemer, my favorite Zur. Other people like the other Zur. I like this one. White, blue, black for a 1/4 human wizard. Flying. Enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. And then you can pay 1 and a white for a target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and base toughness equal to its mana value. Let's get our other things, and this will be the last thing we get from here. So we grabbed our lands already. Let's grab our Mass Disruption, copy card names, import cards, Control V, and go back up to the top. And then our ramp, copy card names, Control V, and none of those are anything I wouldn't want in here. And then removal. Nothing there is surprising. Copy card names. I think that's everything, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Save changes. Close. And that puts us at 65 of our... See, look at that. We're at 65 of our cards. 15 pieces of removal. 2 pieces... Oh, because 2 pieces of protection. 10 pieces of ramp. Oh, and hey, look, these 2 things can be creatures. that have hexproof, death touch, and lifelink, and are 3/3s. Okay, and now we kind of just look for creatures we want to put enduring. We're putting these 3 creatures in. We want Enduring Curiosity, which is whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. And see, the funny thing is that if it dies, if it was a creature, you return to the battlefield. It's an enchantment. And then we can use Zur to turn it back into a creature. And it'll be better because it's a 4/4 instead of a 4/3. Enduring Innocence, whenever one or more creatures you control with power 2 or less enters, draw a card only once a turn. And then it also has the thing. And it becomes a 3/3 when we do that. Enduring Tenacity will also become a 4/4. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Now we got to make sure that we don't put the other half of that combo in and have us go infinite with 2 cards. So ding. And now we go ding. Or I hope I spelled that correctly. I think, wait, hold on. Actually, I think it's Constellation. Let's spell that. Yep, Constellation, not Constellation. Oh, we should go -T. Instant. Oh, no. -T. Sorcery. Overthrow. Community Rector. We're not bothering with that. We want all the glitters. Oh, we want Alela because we're going to be playing a lot of artifacts and enchantments. And let's. Oh, Johnny's Chosen. Yeah. We can remove enchantments from our graveyard to create zombies. We're not gonna do that. I don't think. There's better stuff we can be doing. Archon of Sun's Grace. We get Pegasuses. As foretold, that takes a long time to get going. I say, even though I think I put it in a few decks on see, that's some messed up removal we can put, because then we can turn it into a creature and make it hexproof as long as our commander's on the field. Bastion of Remembrance, Black Market. It's an idea, but one we're probably not going to go through with. Mostly because it's more expensive than the removal we're already using. Did I put T enchantment? No. Then I don't know. Darn it. Then I don't know why this says. Oh, as this enchantment enters. Okay, that explains it. different courts. You know what? I'm actually going to minus O this enchantment, because that is getting too many hits. I don't want. Oh, and then or O-E-R-I-E. Right, hold on. E-E-R-I-E. Yep, okay. That and Constellation are probably redundant with just saying enchantment, but I kind of want to make sure. Protection from enchantments. That's actually super important that it's worded that way and not just protection from auras. Sorry for the dead air. Demon of Fate's Design. I never even heard of that one before. Oh, cast enchantments with life instead of mana. Once a turn. Ethereal Armor, that's another one. And it gives first strike. There are specific cards I'm looking out for, I just don't remember their names. Gremlin Tamer, just to get extra creatures. Hallowed Haunting. As long as we have 7 more enchantments, creature that control flying and vigilance. Hannah could get back. I don't know. We'll come back to that. Hall of Heliod's Generosity to put enchantment card from our graveyard back on top of our library. We can do that as an extra land since it's more of a utility card. No, enchantments cost 1 less, that's good. Boy, look at that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With a lot of pips. Mesa Enchantress. Cast an enchantment, draw a card. I picked This, because like Bant gets enchantments because that's white green. This has no green in it, so and green has more enchantress stuff than white. So it's kind of interesting to see what kind of enchantments you have to work with. I just got reminded of another card that I can put in this deck, but it's really mean. It's Imprisoned on the Moon. Just take someone's commander completely out of the game forever if they don't have enchantment removal. Very mean. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, get a 4/4 angel. It's a little expensive on its own, but we can always take it out. This one will be going over the 2-hour mark. Enchantment spells cost 1 less. I'm going to type in enchantment spells specifically after this. Artifact and enchantment spells. It's not really worth it, just the 1 life. And then Zur the Enchanter, the other one. Whenever Zur the Enchanter attacks, you may search your library for an enchantment card with mana value of 3 or less, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. I'd have to look to see how many hits we'd get out of that. Protect our commander. Because we definitely want him to stay on the field. Enchantment spell. Oh, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. That's good. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you can experience counter, and then you can make enchantment creature tokens. Okay, that's actually much better than I thought it was. Mana Matrix would be cool if it didn't cost 6 on its own. Little badur. Enchantment spells you have affinity for auras. Well, there's only 2 auras in this deck. First enchantment spell each turn you get a nymph. And then at the beginning of each combat, if you control 5 or more enchantments, they get bigger. You know what? Sure. You only get 1 nymph per turn, but this thing becomes a 5/5 with lifelink. Actually, no. I could probably do better. That could be a another enchantment that I cast. What are we at? We had 86. So, hold on. If when we gain, opponent loses, that's what we want. We do not want they lose, we gain, because that closes a particular loop we don't want to close. So let's go over here to good old EDH. See what enchantments they think this deck is missing. Oh, Sphere of Safety, that ridiculous thing. Yes. Okay, Soaring Lightbringer. Other enchantment creatures have flying, yeah. Sphere of Safety. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalker you control unless they pay X for each of those creatures, where that's the number of enchantments you control. Let's fill up that fort. Oh, archetypes. Yes. Archetype of Courage, Finality, and Imagination. Our guys get a thing, and our opponent's guys lose and cannot gain that same thing. First Strike, Death Touch, Flying. Even though Death Touch is redundant, it also takes with Zerf, but it also, takes it away from the opponent. We're at 17 creatures, by the way. We do want more creatures. So go back to card search. Go back to EDH Rec. Go back to enchantments. I like how it takes out the ones that I put in. The beginning of your upkeep, you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Hello. As long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-or enchantment control is a creature. Oh, this is basically just Zur again, only I don't have to pay for it, and they don't get protection. What are we at? We're at 92. I definitely want that. Oh, Phyrexian Arena, just to draw them extra cards. Oh, do we want all of the Overlords? No, we don't want that one. Oh, Black Market Connections, because treasure tokens and drawing cards. You gain, opponent loses. Yes, Sanguine Bond, that's the one we want. Whenever a creature dies, that we own dies, it returns to our hand unless our opponent pays 3 life. It's like, do you really don't want me to have that back? Spirited Companion to draw a card. No, we don't need that. Extravagant Replication. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of another non-land permanent you control. Oh, Trouble in Pairs. Nah. I'm actually gonna see if I can do without it. Ha 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 ha. What do we got? We're at 96 with 18 creatures. I mean, I know we can turn things into creatures, but that That is a tax. See what kind of creatures they think I should have. Immunity Tractor. Oh, boy, I missed that when I was going through eerie stuff. Oh, and an enchantment you control enters. Yeah, because the thing has to enter for that trigger. I'm gonna check my enchantments to see how many hits Zur has. The fairest Zur of all Zurs. Inquisitive Glimmer is 1. Archetype of Courage is 2. Athreos is 3. Enduring Instance is 4. Ethereal Armor. Jeez, now I gotta check them. Zur the Enchanter. Yep. Just checking to see if it could grab auras. So what did I say? Inquisitive Glimmer is 1, Archetype is 2, Athreos is 3, Enduring Innocence is 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It has 10 hits. That ain't horrible. And each one of them is kind of good. Yeah. Going back to categories. We only have 2 more. It wants the Overlord. It also wants Athreos. Oh, yeah, because then we can use the coin counters to return to the battlefield under our control. Yeah. Oh, Spirit Dancer for the... Whenever an enchantment you control enters, you may create a token that's a copy of it. Do it only once a turn. Sten Paranoid Partisan is also would have been good. Also would have been cheaper. Just can't copy my legendary permanents, but that's fine. Close. That's 100 cards. Oh, and we're just a little bit over 2 hours, so that's a good place to call it. Let's do this. Optimize our printings. 33 cards. Oh, and it's neat when a cooler version of the card is the cheaper version of the card. But yep, that's that. We'll see Half Day in another day. Move this over there because I'm going to move it somewhere else later. Next week is Grixis, which I already have 3 decks lined up for that. That'll be fun. I like all 3 of those. 2 of them, actually all 3 of those are already partially built, so there's probably going to be even more after that. But that'll be cool. Yeah, see you then.